James Corden, arsehole, returns to the United Kingdom. Yes, grave news indeed, valuable viewers, certainly for those of you that live in the United Kingdom, that James Corden, arsehole, is returning home. There have been various articles covering the fact that the last episode of The Late Late Show has gone out, and there was footage of him doing carpool karaoke with Adele, a friend of his, non-intimate secondary source, and of him getting teary-eyed, the big blubbery blubber of a baby, hamming it up, of course, for the cameras once again. This coverage, of course, is all fuel for him, and it gives him an opportunity to talk about what the show has done and for people to respond to it. But the Telegraph, through Ed Cumming, asks, James Corden, arsehole, is going home, but does Britain want him back? The outgoing host of The Late Late Show could be a national treasure in his homeland. You've got to be fucking kidding me. If he drops the diva act. Well, that's not going to happen. And do you know why, Ed? Because he's a narcissist, and he's incapable of doing that. The fact is that his narcissism causes him to behave in that manner. Listen carefully, writes Cumming, and you can hear a low rumbling sound, like distant thunder. Look at the mug of tea on your desk and you will see ripples on its surface. At night, pets are inconsolable. That's right, Corden, arsehole, is coming home. Britain's most divisive export since Puritanism is packing up his tuck box. Must be a fucking big tuck box. This week he leaves Los Angeles, where he has been hosting The Late Late Show since 2015, to return to the motherland, like a bunting festoon cruiser being towed up the Thames. I tell you something, if he was being towed up the Thames, it's highly likely that he'd be torpedoed, or perhaps more likely harpooned. Whale alert. He has been in a valedictory mood, recruiting Adele for the final edition of his popular carpool karaoke segment, and roping in Joe Biden, Tom Cruise, and Harry Styles for his last show. She is a telling choice, a genuine transatlantic superstar, admired for her talent and love for her frank British way of speaking, i.e. potty mouth. All the things Corden, arsehole, could be. In other words, if he were not hampered by his unfortunate habit of morphing from James Corden, arsehole, cheeky chappy entertainer to James Corden, arsehole, Hollywood monster at just the wrong moment. Talk about one man, two governors. Of course, what Ed Cumming fails to understand is that the cheeky chappy entertainer is just one aspect of the way that he behaves as part of asserting control over an audience. But interspersed with that regularly is what is described as diva-like behaviour, which is his narcissism coming to the fore. When he doesn't get what he wants, he lashes out. He can't be bothered with the audience because he sees them as beneath him. I've given old Tubby a good roasting, and if you haven't watched those videos, then what on earth are you doing? Pause this one, go and watch them now, laugh your tits off, and then come back. But with Corden, arsehole, he's governed by his narcissism, and he struggles to hide it. This means, for example, that he had the abusing of the staff at Balthazar. There's the incident on the aeroplane where he didn't help his wife with his child and just let them get on with it. There's the instances, of course, of many people saying that they have been to attend the show and he was dismissive and didn't want to interact with fans. He believes that he is brilliant. He can act a little bit. He's a reasonable presenter, but he's an odious human being. And it still is one of life's great mysteries as to how he's made such a little go a very long way. Cumming continues by explaining it was this second version of Corden, arsehole, who so abused the staff at Balthazar, a New York restaurant, after his wife found a small amount of egg white in her yolk, that the owner, Keith McNally, was moved to publicly ban him. This version, whose Ask Me Anything segment on Reddit, was overrun by people asking whether he was an arsehole. This version, who, when challenged by fellow entertainer Jimmy Kimmel, couldn't name a single one of the cameramen in the studio. This version, who according to one eye-opening account on Pop Bitch, refused to help his wife with their 3 children for the whole of a flight home. It's noteworthy here that the journalist, in reporting on this other side of Corden, is quite readily utilising information that's appeared on both Reddit and Pop Bitch, and therefore deems that there's credence in these allegations against him. Individually, the accusations against Corden, arsehole, seem minor, but they stick because they imply traits the British can't abide, namely being rude to staff and getting too big for your boots. Again, behaviours which are commensurate with the behaviour of a narcissist. I make the point, of course, just because somebody's rude to staff, that does not make them a narcissist, but many narcissists are rude to staff. Being too big for your boots doesn't make you a narcissist, but it is a behaviour of a narcissist. And with Corden, arsehole, I'd established that he is one by a consideration of all of the evidence over a considerable period of time. The narrative that he is overpaid, overconfident and over there has been hard for him to shake off while in America, where they tend to be more relaxed about self-promotion. He has lasted a surprisingly long time. If he picks up in the United Kingdom where he left off, he will get short shrift. Yet there is no reason this iteration of James Corden, arsehole, has to be the one who comes back. The door to national treasure status is not as wide open as it was when he left, but nor is it shut. I beg to differ. He did not get the Late Late Show, one of the most prestigious gigs in American television, by mistake. Starting with his turn as lovable Tims in the History Boys, Corden, arsehole, had built a reputation as one of our most promising performers, a man who could combine genuine warmth, no it's not, it's manufactured, with sharp comic timing. He made an asset of his size, giving hope to the cuddly. I should imagine that if you are of the cuddly persuasion, you don't want to be associated with Corden, arsehole, at all. Then there was Francis Henshaw in One Man, Two Governors in Corden, arsehole's return to the National, a tour de force of comic theatre that, when I saw it, had the whole room in cramp-inducing, cheek-wetting laughter. Above all this, his crowning glory, Gavin and Stacey, which he wrote and starred in with Ruth Jones. Let us not lose sight of the fact that the real genius of that programme was Ruth Jones and not Corden, arsehole. He piggybacked that and successfully did so. Assembling a crack squad of British talent, Rob Brydon, Alison Steadman, Larry Lamb, they pulled off a fiendishly difficult trick, a warm, wildly popular comedy whose humour was never cruel. It would have been if Corden, arsehole, had not been reined in. For all the abuse hurled Corden, arsehole's way since it finished, nothing in a similar style has come close to it. Unlike the staff at Balthazar, I don't want to over-egg things. Corden, arsehole, has had professional as well as personal missteps. Take the Jez Butterworth sitcom Mammals, his most recent dramatic outing, in which he seemed to have forgotten what made him watchable. He could make himself likeable in any role, except for when he is playing James Corden, arsehole. But he has redemption in him, if he can find the right path. No, he doesn't. Somehow, he is still only 44, young in light entertainment terms. He has not announced what he will be doing next, but can afford to take his time over deciding. Thanks to his US work, as well as his production company Fullwell 7.3, which produces The Kardashians, among dozens of other things, Corden, arsehole, is thought to be worth an estimated £50 million, which means he has no excuse for another lesbian vampire killers any time soon, which was an absolute abomination of a film. Perhaps he should head back to the stage, where the immediacy of the performance might negate some of his more celebrity excesses, or settle into a gloomy long-running drama and let the work do the talking. Midsummer Murders? How dare you suggest a desecration of that excellent show with this fucking turd? Alternatively, he could make a worthy documentary in which he confronts some traumatic event in his past. The Horn and Corden arsehole sketch show, for instance. Ho ho ho, very droll. He picked an auspicious week to wrap things up in Los Angeles. We have lost 2 beloved entertainers. One, Dame Edna Everage, was a monstrous diva, a 200-pound heap of ego in a bright ball gown. Barry Humphrey's greatest creation was effective because she was so close to the people she was sending up. She could be a guest with real-life celebrities and not seem out of place. The other was Len Goodman, a near unanimously beloved entertainer who could bring a light touch to whatever he fancied. As James Corden arsehole settles into his first-class seat back to Heathrow, he should think about both of their examples. The fact is, he won't do. He will come back, being the big I am, thinking that he's entitled to these roles. And unfortunately, despite the fact that he should just enjoy his wealth quietly and stay away, he's not going to, because his big fat face needs to be thrust into everybody else's, driven by his narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.